Hello, community. It's a great day, and my name is Sheila Hardy, and I'm the founder and CEO of Because It's Personal. And here with me is my co-host, Erica Get Back Scott of Life Changers Inc. And this is the Community Nonprofit Network Podcast, aka CNN. Our motto is where your nonprofit shines. Hey Erica, how you doing?
I am doing great, Sheila. How about you?
I'm doing really good. I just want to let you know that it's just us today, and that's okay. And we're going to be talking about your nonprofit. Keep pushing towards the vision.
Ooh, yeah, that's yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's very good. It's needed. So go ahead and set it off.
Yeah.
Well, I got a lot to cover on this one.
Oh yeah. This is the time. We're in a season now where it's a giving season. Every day is a giving season. I mean, you
Amen.
know. But right now we know that traditionally it's a giving season. It's getting close to Thanksgiving and then Christmas and everything like that. And you know, there's Giving Tuesday. Everybody knows about that. We discussed that. And if you don't know anything about that, check. I think we did it on our last podcast, Erica.
No, last podcast was with Corey Allen. So podcast before that. Okay, I believe it was episode 24.
Okay, there you go. Okay, well, check it out. Check it out. And, you know, we want you to check out all the interviews that we have there because you can get a lot out of that.
Yes.
Anyway.
We learn every time. Every time we have someone, we learn something pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. I'm constantly learning. And we're going to be talking about the continuation of learning.
Yeah.
All about your vision. I mean, there's certain things, and I can only talk about my vision. But it's interesting because sometimes I feel like I'm an Abraham. God will just say, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to do this. And it's like, well, what's next? And sometimes I don't even hear what is next until a certain time.
That's right.
It drives me bonkers. But God knows it drives me bonkers. It drives me bonkers. And it's like, okay, can you tell me the whole thing? I mean, I already know the whole thing.
No!
But putting it together piece by piece, and it's like, oh, okay, I got that. And then all of a sudden, there's something different. And it's like, okay, did I hear wrong in the beginning? What's going on with that? So we're going to be talking about what will actually stop someone from moving forward. And that's the thing, because first of all, you better be sure that this is something that you know that you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
Because this is really tedious when it comes down to...
That's one part. It can be aggravating.
It can be aggravating. And you're probably saying, well, Sheila, are you thinking about not moving forward? No, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just letting you know that this is what happens during, you know, especially when you're starting a nonprofit or a business. You better hope that this is what you were actually called to do.
Well, I would say, even though you may not have thought about stopping, like I haven't thought about stopping, you know, working with Life Changers. But I have wondered, why am I not moving forward? You know, not to, you know, hey, Father, okay, I'm doing everything you said to do. Jesus, order my steps. Okay, I thought we were, hey, I'm following the Holy Spirit. Why does it seem like we're driving around in a cul-de-sac? And yeah, so I think that's where a lot of our listeners may be. And hopefully just to be a blessing, that's all we're here to be, is a blessing to help you get unstuck as we have had to get unstuck. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about is support, real support, not just the cheerleader support, but real support with real solutions to help you get unstuck. So go ahead, set it
That's
off.
too bad you got to put the real in front of it.
I know. You would think with 1.5 million nonprofits just here in America, you could just reach out to someone and get the help you need to get unstuck, within a day or two. And it just, unfortunately, it takes a lot of plugging. That's why we're saying you got to keep pushing toward the vision, because you'll come up against some people be like, well, maybe it just ain't meant. Maybe, God, is this really what you want me? So go ahead and set it off.
Yes. Well, the one thing about it is the fear of failure.
Yes.
That is a big, big thing.
That's the number one.
Because it's where your mind, you're thinking about it constantly. Well, if I do this, what if?
Right.
What if this doesn't work out? Okay, if it doesn't work out, then ask yourself, what's next?
Right.
Because a lot of times we just get stuck on, it's just, I don't know, this might not work.
Right.
And then you start feeling bad, and then you're not thinking about anything else, and it's a mind change.
And then you have that false support. Well, maybe you're not supposed to be doing that. Maybe, well, how's your little business going? How's your little nonprofit? Are you making any money? You raise any money? You getting paid? Is it paying any bills? That's why I had to put real in front of it, because that there is somebody else with a bigger fear than you, because at least you started. You got your paperwork up and going. They didn't even have the guts to do that. And if they did even think about doing it, they weren't going to tell you because they're too scared. Because you're going to be like, because they think you'll be like them. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well,
I should turn my mic off.
There's two parts to that. When you're telling yourself that, you need that support to get you out of that. I mean, I know numerous times you have gotten me out of stinking thinking quite a bit.
Yes.
And,
but we all go through it.
Yeah. You're going to go through it. Yeah, you're going to go through it. I mean, but it's almost like this. When I used to teach in school, you would have a quiz before a test.
Right.
And because the test is the big thing.
Right.
But if I say, okay, we're going to have a pop quiz. Oh man. Oh wow. I said, y'all act like it's the test. All the quiz is to let you know what you know and what you don't know.
Right.
And then you be ready for the test.
Right.
And then when you tripping out on the quiz. So I had to teach them how to say, yay, we're going to know what we know. And then if we don't know it, we're going to know that too.
Right. Well, that's, you don't know what you don't know until you need to know it. And you don't know it until after the pop quiz where you fail that answer.
Yes. That's it. So, that fear thing is really crazy, because it comes in all shapes and sizes and forms and everything. It's just really interesting. So with that being said, don't be afraid to fail. I was, and there's certain parts of me that still is, but I have to actually take control of that thought.
Right.
So some of you that are Bible-based scripture phenomenals, if that's a word, I don't know. If you really know your Bible, whatever, you know that you got to take your thoughts captive.
Right.
If they are wrong, if they are negative. And what you do is you say to yourself, you know what, I can do this, and go from there. So, and if you're not faith-based, I don't know what to tell you. So, I'll tell you the same thing, because it's actually a principle. So,
right. Well, let me just interject for 2 seconds to go back to what you just said. You've got to stay in learning mode. You have to stay in learning mode. And I would say, for one, faith-based or not, you need to know when you're starting to get into that funk, right? You need to know, okay, I'm feeling that gut, I'm having that gut feeling, whether you want to say, okay, the evil one is coming after me in a major way, or, the universe, whatever you want to say, but you have to be able to get a hold of it like immediately so that you can revert, because what we say about sin takes you further than you want to go and keeps you longer than you want to stay. Well, if you know that feeling could lead to a deep depression about, things aren't going right, I'm not getting donations, I'm not getting volunteers, I'm not getting contracts, whatever it is that you're doing, then you really need to get a grasp on that emotion and come up with, devise a plan. Call Sheila. She deals with this, because a lot of times it's dealt with, it is rooted in trauma, and a lot of fear is rooted in trauma. We didn't have supportive parents, or the opposite. We had, those that say, well, I don't know about it. Well, why don't you just why don't you just go get a job? And we all know that word job, when we're trying to do something out of the ordinary, think outside of, oh, please. When I was working with Cobb County government, and I told one of my grandmothers, I put my notice in, and said, well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm starting a trucking company. You quit your good government job to go work, to go do a man's job? Oh, thank you. Thankfully, I'm the self-inspired one, because that would have crushed me, because little did she know I couldn't even get that job back if I wanted to. I no longer qualified. That was a God thing. We'll leave it there. But yes, I think going back to what you said, you have to stay in learning mode, because even if this one doesn't work, you should have picked up a lesson or two. That's the business coach coming out of me. You should have picked up a way of how not to do it next time, or what did work in there, but that you can bring over here, and what didn't work over there. So let's not try that again. Let's stay out of that neck of the woods. So yeah, you always, no matter what, learn to take lessons through everything in life.
So true. That is so true. It's really all about you.
Yes.
When I say that, even when you communicate with the people that you're working with, your board, your volunteers,
right,
all them, it's really about you. If my thing is, and I'm just being personal with this, is that I'm just for real. If I don't know something, I'm gonna tell you I don't know it.
Right. So that's the easiest. If you don't face it, you can't fix it. So yeah.
Well, some people look at that as a weakness. I have experienced that, and some people say, well, just fake it that this and everything. I'm not faking anything, because I can't fake like that,
right.
And it's not going to help me, and it's not, and
right.
To me, it's like, okay, I don't know anything about that. That's why I try to put people that know more than me. It's almost like, okay, everybody that knows me knows that I'm a Star Trek fan. not a Trekkie.
Know that.
I'm not a Trekkie. I'm a fan, okay? But not a Trekkie. I'm not that crazy.
You're one notch away from Trekkie. Come on now.
Yeah. And so, Captain Kirk, okay, I'm back. That's back in the day. Not Picard. Okay, Captain Kirk would get information from his group, from his peers, or not his peers, but from his people that are surrounding him, and they were professionals at what they did.
Right.
And so, but you always have that number one.
Right.
Spock was his number one.
Right.
And then Picard came in and started putting the number one thing.
See, that's how I know you're a Trekkie, because I don't even know who that is.
Oh Lord, Jesus.
I knew.
Okay. Anyway, the bottom line was that everybody was from a different ethnic group. This is the first one, okay?
Right.
Okay. And so, and then, they had what they were doing. They had their expertise in what they were doing.
Right.
And so, and of course, Captain Kirk knew, what to ask and everything like that, and they would give him information, and then he would have to make the determination of, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Right.
So with that being said, they worked together as a team.
Right.
And right. So with that being said, working together as a team, but you got to know what you're working for, meaning, okay, what is it? What were we supposed to be doing? We supposed to be checking out the planet down there to see, first of all, what's going on down there and blah, blah, blah. So that was the thing.
Right.
Anyway, getting out of that.
That speaks directly to staying with the vision, but knowing the in-between, it speaks to the mission. Okay, that's where we're going. Okay, we're both in Atlanta. We're going from Atlanta to California. Well, how are we getting there? Okay, well, you get on 285 to get on 20 to get, merge with 10 and da-da-da. Well, you have to know, okay, where are we stopping for gas? Where we stop, and that's all the mission, but we know the vision is Cali. We are Cali bound. And unfortunately, some people are like, oh, well, I didn't hear the vision. I heard west. I heard out west. Well, out west, some people say Texas starts out west, but Arizona really starts out west. New Mexico. So, okay, so you're getting off here, so that what you said, it really is right on point with, the vision and the mission. I will add this though, and again, it's the business coach coming out of me. How your role as a leader and your goal as a leader is not to appease your people. It is to edify them and help them maximize their potential, optimize, how stretch them. Now, everybody who's ever worked with me, it's all okay. Well, okay, let me think about how. I'm sure it can be done, but because that's what everybody on my team says. I'm sure it can be done, but let me see how. But guess what? That means you as a leader, you got to stay in learning mode even twice as much. Not in the business, but on the business, because you have to learn and understand what parts you have to know. This highway connects to that highway that connects to that. They may only be able to see I-285. Okay. Or this one might know, okay, well, I know I-20 like the back of my hand. They may not know that in Pecos, Texas, I-20, now dead ends into I-10, but somebody else may know that, but you have to see the whole vision. They have to understand, okay, we're Cali bound. I may not know how we're getting there, but I trust our leader knows how to get us there. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. And if some of you that are really, really new concerned about what a vision is, it's about the end. Right. It's the end of it. Right. So if you want to make bread or a certain type of bread, I don't know where that's coming from. If you want to make a certain type of bread, you already had in your imagination, what's going on in that bread, and you see that bread.
Right.
Okay, now what you got to do is you got to start making the bread to get to the end.
And what's the first thing you need?
Yeah, so the first thing you need is the flour.
Right.
And so, yeah. So
who makes the best flour?
Right. So a lot of it, no, not a lot of it. What it is that you better know exactly what you want. Now, I'm gonna tell you, this is personal. Because
you just all kind of transparent today. Go for it.
Yeah. There are times you're gonna go into an Abraham mode. At least I did. It was where I saw the ending, but going through the step by step, I was changing a lot of things. I know what I wanted to end up with, but there were different paths that I had to change up because I started learning about the field that I was going in. I was learning more about that, and I was like, whoa, I'm going to have to change up on this one. And so even with my curriculum, with my program, I kept changing things. But it's still, the outcome was, to allow our participants to get more knowledge, get an understanding about what was going on with them at this particular time. But the way we were going to do it, or the way that I was going to do it, had changed constantly. And so there were times when I had to just stop and just allow, God, I'm going to say God. Some of you say universe, some of you whatever. But I had to calm down. I had to stop, and I had to listen. And I mean, totally different way I was doing things. But it was the same outcome, same outcome I was going to have. But it was a different way I was going to do it. You're going to go through an Abraham mode where he just says, okay, do this, and then he does. And then with Abraham, he said to him, okay, I'm gonna tell you where to go. And that wasn't where he said, okay, go over there to California. This is what. No, he had to actually, use his faith and constantly have a listening ear.
Right.
And that's another thing. You're gonna have to calm yourself down. You cannot keep moving and keep going. You gotta stop and you gotta listen.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. We like to talk a lot, but we don't know how to listen.
Right.
And keep our mouth shut, because he has done that with me, where I wanted to say something and he like, nope.
Right.
And I didn't. So, and that's very rare for me. Okay, so with that being said, you start learning about yourself when you go into a genesis state of something that you were called to do, or your vision. Then you go into a Moses situation where you're dealing with people.
Woo-wee. Now that's enough to make you want to stop right there. But don't let it.
So if you know your Bible and you know Moses had to talk to God
a lot
concerning about the Okay. All right. So with that being said, you need that support.
Yeah.
You need that support. Aaron was there, and I'm talking about the Moses code. but there were times when Moses didn't want to do it because he said, "Look, I can't talk." So Aaron did most of the talking.
Right.
There are going to be times when, and I went through that too, because I was not sure of all that I was doing.
Right.
So I would ask someone else to actually be my voice.
Yeah.
Because I was not ready for that. However, my position did not change.
Right.
That's the thing. Make sure that you understand your position doesn't change. All of us are leaders. I want to stress that. All of us are leaders.
Yes.
But a person that really knows how to lead knows how to step back when they need to and let the person that is actually supposed to be leading lead.
Right.
That's just what you do. So with that being said, Aaron could have took over, but God called Moses.
Right.
Okay, we didn't mean to go into a Sunday school lesson. Just letting you know that's an example. Okay, all right, wonderful. So,
but since you mentioned it, I love that. I always get the name mixed up. Was it the Amalekites they were fighting when Moses' arms got tired and Aaron and Hur held his hands and gave him, held his hands up?
Oh yeah, that's right. They had to hold his hands up because he was getting tired. I don't know who he was fighting. I know he was fighting somebody.
I would say it was the Amalekites, but that's my point is, you need people who are going to hold your hands up as the leader and not try, I'll take it from here. That's not real support. Support respects you as the leader, They understand, like you said, they lead their field. Okay, I'm the leader of communications. I'm the leader of email marketing. I'm the leader of social media marketing. They're not trying to take over your spot, even if you don't know as much as them. Let me tell you something, folks. Let me just say this, and let me say it again. This is a business. Nonprofit is a business. So you often hear me talk about Bible and business. So business, that means that you can have really good knowledge in everything, in one thing. Like Sheila said, she's still learning. Sheila has never had a business, has never run a business. She has worked, but she's never been from the ground up. So this is new, and I appreciate you sharing that. However, I stay on Sheila, since you're being so transparent, I stay on Sheila to stop being so heads down all the time in her specialty, because she has to focus on the business, not just in the business. So what does that mean? You don't get so far deep down, even in the part that you're comfortable in, because this is your specialty. This is your area of expertise. You have to focus on growing the business, because your social media marketer over there needs your leadership. Even though they know what they're doing, you have to see what they're doing to make sure they are staying aligned with the vision. Why do we stay in prayer, especially for our nonprofit? To make sure what? We're staying on the steps that Jesus Lord has ordered for us, even not just in our personal, but even in our business. So they need to know, you need to know what they're doing to make sure that they are doing the email marketing. Okay, the email marketing went out, right? Okay, you got the board meeting set up, right? You got the, you got the calls to, this office and that, whatever. And a lot of times, sorry folks, a lot of times it does take you away from the part of the business you want to be focused on, because that's your comfort zone. That's what you know. That's what you feel best in. No, you have to get out and learn, okay, what does that position do? What does that position do? Okay, what kind of bookkeeping do we need? Who do we need to use for payroll? That is a big part of leadership that a lot of new business owners, yes, nonprofits, they don't understand. Oh, I need to do that. Yes, you do. You sure do. You sure do.
I totally agree with that. And again, it's all about believing in you. Right. It always comes back to you.
You can do it. You can do it.
You can do this. I know that sometimes you're like, well, I don't have the people to help me. You pray and ask for the people to help you.
Right.
They'll come. They'll come. The thing of it is that this allows, when you're in a new position of anything, you really start learning about who you are.
Yes.
What you can tolerate and what you can't.
Yes. Who you can tolerate.
And boundaries is a must.
Yes. Yes. Come on now.
So the boundaries is not for the people to, for them. The boundaries is for you.
Right.
Because it is to protect you to keep going. Because we're talking about keep pushing towards the vision. This is how you're going to do it.
Right.
You're going to do it where you have to put up the boundaries of, okay, anytime you have, this is interesting. Anytime you have people that are somewhat like you, like I'm an alpha female.
Right.
I'm sorry. That's just, and so with that being said, you're going to have some alpha females and alpha males in your circle.
Right.
And so again, it's all about respect.
Yes.
In your bylaws. Because those are boundaries.
Yes.
Okay? You put all that in your bylaws. You put specific things in your bylaws. If everybody knows that you're supposed to be giving a certain amount of money at a certain time, put in your bylaws. And if it's not happening, if you got these meetings and everything and nobody is putting up anything, they probably didn't read their bylaws. And if they did, it's like, okay, I'm not even going to deal with this. then that tells you something. Those are the things that you need to be aware of.
Right.
And that's what boundaries do.
Right.
They protect you and your vision.
Right. Right. And that's true. And again, that goes back to knowing your team. You know, as I over and over and over again.
It's almost, this is how I look at it. It's almost like when you get married to somebody, it's totally different from being
engaged or dating.
But see, I'm old school. Sorry, I'm old school. Nowadays, you know, you got people living together with,
yeah,
and they know each other.
I thought that was the best way.
I'll change it to, you know, living with someone and being their friend or whatever. It's a totally different thing. That can be with anything. So it's like you don't really know a person until you really live with them.
Yes.
So that's the same thing with business. You think you know a person and you really don't until certain things happen.
I was not going to say it, but God said I can say it. Right. People will volunteer with you and, I say, great vision and blah, 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 blah. And then you put them on payroll. What, how the song go back in the day? Houdini, the freaks come out at night.
Oh my God.
For some reason, you know, praise God, we're in Georgia, hire at will, fire at will. For some reason, you know, people have, and bless the man of God, Pastor John Hand up in Chicago, New Life. They just finished a series called Triggers, and one of them was entitlement. And people think because they've been with you since, you know, I've been your A1 since day one, you know, I've known you since, you know, we were in daycare together. And it's like now, you know, no support all this time, but all of a sudden, you know, and I'm not one to post on social media, but word gets out, And now, you know, because you're blessed, you're, you know, after you done struggled and, you know, biting your fingertips off, losing sleep at night over this nonprofit and growth that nobody thought was a good idea until, you know, it comes to start being the blessing that you envisioned it to be. So all that to say, you know, people will come out of the woodworks when you're starting to see, and it may be 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the road, but you keep working in it. And those boundaries Sheila's talking about, oh yeah. You better have an electric fence up because you're gonna have to know how not to cross the line and not compromise in every situation too, because you'll be tempted. The same reason they feel entitled, you'll have a little bit of that guilt trip, like, well, I have known them since they were for me, you know, 30 years ago. They were there with me when I had my firstborn, and then, hey, new season, you know, people come into your life for a reason in a season. You better check those boundaries and make sure they're good and fortified.
Once again, I will let you know that put it in your bylaws.
Hey, if it's in a contract and it's written, it on a napkin and signed by all parties involved, it's there. It's legally binding. You can let them go.
There you go. So support is really, really a necessity. It really is. One thing about it is resources is a really big opportunity to get everything going with your nonprofit.
Yes.
Resources is on the number one list, really, one of the number one lists, because when you have that, you can just, you don't stop. It's like, ooh, this is really great. I can use this.
Right.
It's wonderful.
Right.
And, you know, it's profitable for you and you get a chance to know people. It's just great. it's really good to have those resources. And resources is changing all the time because society is changing all the time. So once you have those resources, you really almost halfway there.
What would you name as your top 3 resources that have been most beneficial to you in growing because it's personal?
Well, first of all, communication and letting people know not everybody. You have to really be discerning.
Yes.
But the number one thing is when you have this vision and you're talking to someone. I remember I was trying to pitch my vision with someone, and this person told me that he didn't think that he could work with me or whatever. It wasn't exactly like that, but it was more of no. He did not want to be a part of it because I can't remember how he said it. It's interesting how you can remember the feeling of what somebody says,
right?
But you can't remember exactly what they said,
right?
But I tried to pitch it, and it didn't go anywhere, and it's okay because apparently that person wasn't supposed to be in my.
That's it.
However, it was where I was just starting out, and you feel kind of bad. It's like, boy, this person could really do good, because of the talent that person had. It didn't matter because there's other people that have talents just like him.
Yes.
So again, it's a mindset. You have to change. This is what I have done, guys, here lately. When I start thinking something negative, where it's like, man, I don't know, or it's really not positive, I tell myself, reject it, just reject it. And usually, what I've been saying now is delete. It takes me to another way of thinking. So I had actually programmed myself, and this is during the night, and this is one of my techniques that I will be using. So, it's where anytime that I'm thinking of something negative or whatever, I just say out loud, delete. Or if I'm around people and, if somebody, hear me say delete, they probably look at me crazy like, okay. I will say delete, in that thinking, and it works, but you got to work it. It's more of you have to train your subconscious to do that, actually to delete that thought. It just doesn't come out and you just say, okay, I delete it, and nah. The subconscious is a habit. Brain, if you want to call it that. It's a habit. So you have to do it so many times in order to change that habit. What I do is I like delete, and it's really working for me. So if you ever think about doing something like that with your mind and it's negative, just, practice concerning deleting that. But anyway, that's the first thing. Communication is the first thing. Discerning who you talk to. And then, again, when you're talking to people, like I said, the communication is the big thing. You end up getting resources by just opening your mouth. And what I did was I end up talking with Irene Barton, and she is over, and we've had her on, we've interviewed her, and she's over the Cobb Collaborative. She was the person that I needed to talk with, and I found her, and been doing great ever since. It's all about communicating, guys. It's all about opening your mouth, and if there's something that you need, open your mouth, and because that's the only way you're going to get it. Nobody's going to, try to figure your, if you telepathy or something like that. Nobody does that. Well, no, that's not true. There's some people that can do that.
But because we're half a year in. It sounds like a long time when you say it that way. We're half a year in with this podcast. Woo, woo, woo. Yeah. And every time we have a guest, no matter how new, Irene, yeah, she's a vet. She's the one who brought us together. But even someone like Emerald Tooney, who was transparent and said, I haven't gotten to that stage in my business yet. Shout out to Emerald Tooney of Feminine Cares. And, we still learned about, what was she talking about? Doing the events, in-person events, and going to Kroger, and the conversation she was having thus far. And then who she referred, because that's a resource, referrals. She referred the next one, who's Corey Allen, who was on last week. And he was telling us about how he uses events. So knowledge, resources that get that knowledge is like, to me, that's like number one. That's like number one. So what's your third most valuable resource?
Keeping myself in line.
And what resource do you use to do that?
Well, with the resources there, I'm constantly learning about what I'm supposed to be doing in my vision.
Okay.
I'm constantly learning more about what I'm supposed to do with this particular program that I'm setting up. Again, and if anybody can give me some information, that'd be great. I am actually trying to connect with someone that is already doing this with the reentry program. I want to do something a little bit different. However, I still need to connect with someone that actually is doing it. Specifically what they're doing, because I'm not sure what exactly how people do the reentry. I don't know if there's different ones that do something different. I don't know. So that's where I need to connect with someone that actually have been doing this. So I'll have an opportunity to know, okay, is this right for me, or can I do something a little bit different? So my resource right now is, or my quest is, to find someone that is actually, or partner with someone that's actually doing it. That's where it gets difficult for me right now, because there were two organizations that I wanted to talk with, but it hasn't happened yet. So that's another thing. Time.
It happens when it's supposed to happen. I know you agree, because I've heard you say that to me.
Well, you've mostly been having to remind me, because, again, just connecting with people, and I know everybody's busy, we get that, but I'm very old school. And when I say very, put the very in front of the old school, it's like, when you talk to me and say you're going to contact me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. I'm saying it. I'm putting it out there. And then if you can't, nobody's saying that, things happen or don't happen or whatever, but things happen, and give me the courtesy.
Right.
That's all I'm asking. Just give me the courtesy. Very customer service.
Yeah.
Just like Publix. Everybody,
Yeah, we were just talking about that on the phone.
We're talking about Publix, because Publix is very expensive. But you know what? People go there because of their customer service.
Right. And you can go to our podcast. That's way back in the early, I don't even think we had a guest on yet. So it'd probably be around episode number 4 or 5 of the CNN podcast, and get a full-blown do's and don'ts. And I believe it's titled How to Communicate Effectively for Your Nonprofit. And that is really, communication is key. Communication is key. Again, communication is key. The easiest way to burn yourself out and to burn a lot of bridges, meaning you'll have to work even harder to establish other relationships, is by having poor communication. And that is simply know your schedule, know what you can handle, and make time for rest. Make time for rest. Make time for rest. God rested. What makes you think you don't have to?
That's true. Well, we know that God really doesn't rest, guys. We just know he stopped. It just said he rested, but he just stopped.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do. We just need to stop. Just stop. And not just your body.
You see somebody on your team, well, I'll do it tomorrow, and they're getting the stuff done. Okay, whoa, you take a day off. I don't care if they're volunteering. Take a day off.
Correct. Because that's how we're designed. We are designed to rest in order to fill ourselves back up with energy. That's the bottom line.
Replenish.
So when you go against nature, which
it never works out well, does it?
No, it doesn't. It never will. Because when you go against the way we're designed, you go against it thinking, okay, I don't have to do this, whatever. There's some consequences.
Oh, there's major. Hey, you want to talk about consequences? Come holler at me. I had to retire from trucking for a reason, and that's because overnight people, long haul truck drivers, which I was one, and I worked overnight, and hospital staff, overnight nurses, doctors, we suffer the worst ways with our health. And yes, I had to retire due to diabetic retinopathy. I'm legally blind, and diabetic neuropathy. I won't go into everything, but your health, man, you go against nature, you go against the how you were created. Our bodies were created to function from sun up to sun down, period. Shut it down. So yeah, you go against that if you want to. You're not going to last long. I guarantee you. I hate to put it out there, but sometimes some people just need a stern tongue lashing. I think.
Let me tell you something. Sometimes it's not even the tongue lashing. Your body will do it.
Yeah, but I'm trying to help avoid that.
I know. It's here nowadays, people, I don't know what it is, but you can talk yourself silly.
Yeah, especially the kids. Oh my gosh, we're definitely not going there. We're not going there.
Yeah. It's more of, okay, you just go ahead and just do it.
Yeah. But you know what? I'll go here. I will say technology has a lot to do with that. And you and I would have, I think, in the same conversation about Publix, because we were talking about what the self-checkout and how Publix doesn't have self-checkout, and they have people to bag and carry your stuff to your car. Right. But this technology that allows you to get more done. Yes, you can be way more efficient and by yourself, so you don't have to talk to other people. And even if you communicate with them through email, text messages, on the inboxing, DMs, whatever. And that has a lot to do with why these kids are the way they are. Antisocial if it's not another 18-year-old or another 25-year-old, even when it comes to building an app, they don't have to talk to anybody outside of their team, and that app will go right on Google, Play Store or the Apple Store, and they don't have to talk to anybody. Everything is on the app. Well, don't believe the hype. Don't feed into this, I don't have to talk to, staying with the communication and staying with the vision. Technology, even your words, even your own typing in a text or email cannot express, explain, or break down your vision for someone the way your mouth can. Open your mouth. Speak what it is you want them to know, and what it is you want them to know about where you're going, and what you want them to know about how you would like for them to help you get there. Open your mouth and talk. People, please don't text me. Anybody tell you, don't text me. And I'm one for email only because it's so efficient. But when it comes to an in-depth conversation, yeah, I wouldn't do this in a blog post because you're not going to understand what I'm saying in writing. But podcast, yeah, this will be on thecnnpodcast.com and on YouTube. So there you go. I digress. I'm sorry. That's one of my big things. Communication or lack thereof or poor. Oh, no. And you want to be successful? No.
Well, one thing about it is, for me, it's all about self. when you go through certain situations with yourself and with people, it comes back to you. It comes back to you. It's like, okay, how could I have done this better?
Right.
Everything is always a learning experience, like we were talking about before.
Right.
It is a learning experience. It is where you learn mostly about yourself than mostly other people. I know the name of my nonprofit is Because It's Personal. There's times when I did make it personal.
And if somebody is not treating your baby right, we're both mothers now. Come on.
Yeah, it becomes personal.
Yeah.
The thing of it is how you respond. Even though if it becomes personal, it's all about responding and not reacting.
Right.
You're going to learn a lot about yourself. But this is what I want to tell you or tell the audience is, you know what? Don't beat up on yourself.
No. No.
There is a word, forgiving is a really powerful word.
And grace. Yes.
And
yes.
grace. But forgiving is really, I mean, if you really do it. And it's more of yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And people know, you can say you sorry. People can know whether you really mean it or not.
Right. If you're sincere.
Especially if you've been married before and
we
you
both
have a fight with your spouse. You know whether that person really means sorry or not. Or just saying it just to, get by.
Right.
And so with that being said, forgive yourself. Right. If certain things doesn't work out or whatever, forgive yourself.
Right.
That's
take notes and keep it pushing.
And keep going.
Yeah.
It's what I used to think these people are crazy. Somebody could climb a mountain and they can fall off that mountain and they live. And that person will go back on that mountain.
Yes, yes.
And I'm like, that person crazy.
Yeah. And let me pause you right there. Congratulations. And we do these shows on the fly, so I was not prepared for that. But since you mentioned it, we just had a world record breaker. I'm not sure what mountain they climbed, but I believe he's a teenage, like 13, maybe 14, the youngest to climb this mountain. He and his dad did it, ever. And I can't think of which mountain it is. I just heard it the other day. And, I'm not really a big news buff, so I wasn't listening, but I turned around. Oh, okay, great. So, but yeah, that mountain climbing example is true. Like I said earlier, you may have tried other businesses. The trucking company wasn't my first business, but it was the first successful, meaning, other businesses I've turned a buck. Most people, once you make a buck, you're successful. Once you're paying your bills, you're successful. So the trucking company, it paid bills, it paid college tuition, blah, blah, blah. But again, take what you've learned and I'll put up the quotes, failures. But I take everything as a learning lesson. Okay, that didn't work out. Now transfer that knowledge into this one. And hopefully the more you learn, the more you're growing. But yeah, like Sheila said, forgive yourself and keep it moving. Cause don't get stuck in the mud. Don't be in quicksand to where you're scared to make a move because I didn't do that right. Trust me, the world is not going to stop moving because you messed up. Now, hopefully you're not at the point, because I have referred to this before, hopefully you're not at the point where your next move is do or die. Literally, we're either going to pay the mortgage or we're not. I did, when I spoke on it before, when I volunteered with Musk Ministries, a big homeless shelter, a big program here in Marietta, Georgia. I was volunteering. I did intake, and one guy came in. You could tell, I asked him, "Are you here to volunteer?" And he was actually here for a place to live because he made one bad business move too many, and put everything on the line. Lost his wife, his house, his kids, and so hopefully you reach out and get help before then. And I'll say there, shout out to my mentors, Roger, with SCORE, and it's an acronym. I don't know what it stands for, but it's nationwide. It's you get your first 3 mentor sessions, coaching sessions free, and they I think they're like an hour each. And honestly, you really probably can do better. At least get on the right track with 3 hours of coaching. You can always shout out to me. I'm a business coach. I'm a Christian business coach. So I don't recommend shady stuff. Everything's by the book being the Bible. But, it's, I'll stop there because I can keep going.
Well, I can only tell you my experience with SCORE, and it was when I was living in Alabama at that particular time. Bama. And I'm going to let you know, my experience was not that great.
Oh.
It taught me a lot. It was interesting. I had 2 men, at that particular time, I had 2 men that were working with me. One of them did not care for me. The other one was so enthusiastic. It was really interesting.
What, were they like a team or something?
Well, they were working like a team.
Okay, I hadn't heard that.
They were working with me.
Okay.
But the one particular one that I believe that did not care about me, which I didn't understand why, the first thing he told me is, well, you just need a job first. And that's when it was like, okay, this guy does not care anything about what I want to do.
Did you request to change?
No. I just left. I just stopped.
I'm sorry to hear that.
This was in Alabama. I'm not saying Alabama is a big place, but I'm saying this was in Alabama. This was near, So
they just didn't represent, period. No matter what state they were in, they didn't represent SCORE, because that is not an experience.
No. And it could have been that I just wasn't supposed to be there.
Well, yeah, and just to be clear, that's more of, it sounds like it's how he said it rather than what he said, because he may have, because, one thing you just mentioned was resources. Okay. Well, you can't start a business for free, but you do need something to pay your bills. Okay. So he could have said it more gently, like, okay. Well, have you thought about how to make income?
Let me explain something to you. We know when somebody does not care for you.
Right.
You know. Because the other fella was totally different spirit. Totally different.
And he probably would have said it differently, right?
He never told me to do that. The other guy that was enthusiastic was trying to get resources to help me to get this done. Okay. The other guy did not. So, with that being said, and what I couldn't understand was the guy that did not lift me up concerning my vision. He had gotten an award for something, but you can tell when somebody does not care for you.
Right.
I don't know what his reasoning was, because he didn't know me. It could be that, again, there's all different things that can come, that a person not like you because you could be maybe intimidating with their inferiority. Okay.
Yeah.
There's numerous things. He may not like me because I'm a woman and I want to do certain things. You never know, but you can feel it. You can tell. Nobody has to tell you anything. Cause the reasoning is what you don't know. But the bottom line is, when somebody says something, you can tell something's not right. That was another lifetime. And so it was where I wasn't supposed to be in Alabama.
Gotcha.
I wasn't even supposed to be there. Not live, at least. So
well, that there, I'm sorry to hear that,
But yeah, it was really interesting.
We want to let you know that if you are interested in advertising with the CNN podcast, if you want to get a shout out on air and or be listed on our website, thecnnpodcast.com, visit the website, click the advertise tab. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, great. Go to the website, click the be a guest tab, submit your information, and we will contact you. And so, Sheila, what quote are you leaving us with today?
All right, here we go. The easiest way to organize your stuff is to get rid of most of it.
Wow, that is so true. Well, fam, until next time, as always, be awesome and be blessed.